Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today we're jumping into a really structured path for spiritual development, a four-step journey, really, that leads from the cycle of life and death to true liberation.
But let me start with a question for you. Can you build a mansion, but start with the third floor? Sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, that absurd idea is at the absolute heart of what we're talking about today. To see why, let's kick things off with a story. So picture this. There's this wealthy guy, a bit foolish as the old texts tell it, and he's visiting his friend who owns this stunning 3-story mansion. He goes all the way to the top floor, sees the incredible view, and he is just blown away. He decides, right then and there, I have to have this. So what does he do? He hires the exact same builder and says, listen, I don't want the first floor, don't need the second floor, forget all that. Just build me that third floor. And you can imagine the builder just standing there, completely baffled, thinking, How do you do that? You can't just build something floating in midair. Now, this is where the story really hits home. It's not just about a foolish rich man. It's a mirror for us. Because how often do we see a result we want? Enlightenment, success, inner peace. And we just want to skip straight to the good part. We want the reward without the process. This little story is the perfect metaphor for the spiritual path, which, just like that mansion, has to be built from the ground up, in a very specific order.
So, the whole point of that story, the big takeaway is this. Just like a mansion needs a solid foundation, any kind of real spiritual growth needs a process. You just can't skip steps and start at the top. It doesn't work.
And that process, that path, has a name. It's called the Dharma. You can think of it simply as the path, the road that takes you from the endless loop of birth and death all the way to liberation. And it's not a random, winding road. It has very clear, very definite, and totally unskippable steps. So, let's get to building. Let's start on the first floor, laying that foundation. This step is all about receiving and then actually studying the Dharma. It's about understanding the blueprint before you even pick up a shovel. So why do this? Well, the main reason for this first step is purification. Think about it. You get dirt on your clothes, you wash it out with water, easy. But what about the stains on the mind? Things like greed or anger or just plain old delusion. The teachings of the Dharma are like the water that cleanses those mental stains, the things that cloud up our thinking. And what's underneath all those mental stains, all those clouds? Your true original nature. The analogy they use is just perfect. It's like the sun being hidden by clouds. The sun is always there, it's always shining, but we just can't see it. Studying the Dharma is the process of clearing away those clouds so that the brilliant sun that's already inside you can finally shine through. And this isn't just some abstract idea. This foundation creates real concrete changes. We're talking about 3 core transformations. First, you start transforming selfishness into genuine compassion. Then you work on changing a narrow, closed mind into one that's vast and open. And finally, you transform that sense of arrogance into true, deep humility. That's what a solid foundation looks like. Okay, so the foundation is poured. It's solid. Now we can start building up. We're on to the second floor, and this is all about the inner work. This is about cultivating the Dharma inside yourself. And there's a really critical saying that captures the stage perfectly. The master transmits the Dharma, but cultivation depends on one's self. What that means is a teacher can give you the map. They can even give you the tools. But you, and only you, can actually do the work. This part is all about taking personal responsibility for your own growth. So, how do we do it? How do we build this inner self? Well, it's kind of like doing some deep inner house cleaning. It means actively letting go of attachments, clearing out all those deluded thoughts. It means practicing sincere repentance and cultivating a real sense of gratitude. And maybe most importantly, it's about making sure everything, what you say, what you listen to, what you do, lines up perfectly with the blueprint, with the teachings.
All right, with a solid foundation and a strong inner structure, we're finally ready for the third floor. This is where your inner world connects with the outer world. This is where you start practicing the Dharma through your actions. You start living the path. Now, taking this stuff out into the real world, well, that's not always a walk in the park. It takes real courage. The texts point to 3 specific fears that you have to overcome. The fear of suffering, the fear of just plain old hardship, and, this is a big one, the fear of being slandered, misunderstood, or falsely accused by other people. And this whole outward-facing practice has a name. It's the Bodhisattva path.
This is the point where the journey stops being just about you. It becomes about actively working for the liberation of everyone, sharing what you've learned, and helping other people find their way onto this same path.
And the highest, most profound expression of this stage is to fulfill your sacred vows. These aren't just little promises. We're talking about deep, powerful commitments to a purpose that's bigger than yourself. It's about dedicating your life to serving others as a way of repaying the grace that you've received.
So, we've laid the foundation, we've built the inner self, and we've connected it to the world. Now, finally, we can reach that fourth and final step, realizing the Dharma. This isn't just about finishing the mansion. It's about living in it, truly embodying that magnificent view from the top. It's about making sure this incredible structure you've built can stand strong against absolutely anything. Let's just quickly look at this whole process with a different metaphor. Imagine receiving the Dharma is like being given a precious seed. Step 2, studying, is learning how to plant it and care for it. Step 3, cultivating, is the patient daily work of watering it and nurturing its growth. And finally, step 4, practicing the Dharma, is when your tree finally bears fruit that you can then share with everyone.
So what's the secret to making this whole thing last? To keeping that mansion standing? It's all about holding on to the spirit you had right at the very beginning. You have to remember that initial spark of faith, that powerful determination that first set you on this journey. That's the energy that keeps the whole thing going.
Ultimately, that old grand structure is held together by 3 pillars: faith in the path you're on, stability in your practice so you're not shaken by every little challenge, and steadfastness, a rock-solid, unwavering commitment. So the question that this really leaves us with is, what do these 3 pillars mean for the structures that we're all trying to build in our own lives?